This video segment is about Standard 7, which is about how you communicate with the outside world about your program. As with all the videos, you can pause at any time to look more closely at a slide, and you can download the slides with their accompanying notes that are more detailed than the presentation. The videos are not intended to be a substitute for attending the Accreditation Institute workshop or reviewing the self-study instructions and other materials provided by COPRA. But let's talk a little bit about Standard 7. Essentially, this is about transparency and truth in advertising. It's about providing the information to your stakeholders that they want and that they need in order to make informed decisions. Now, when I say stakeholders, who am I talking about? I'm talking about your students, both current students and prospective students, your alumni, your faculty and staff and prospective faculty and staff, university administrators, individuals who might be able to provide internship placements for your students, or employers who might hire your graduates. I'm even possibly talking about policymakers. And certainly, another stakeholder is NASPA or COPRA as an accreditor. Why do we have a standard for accreditation that requires you to release certain information to these stakeholders? There are essentially two reasons. One is very practical, the other more philosophical. The practical reason is that COPRA is required by its accreditor, the Council for Higher Education Accreditation, or CHIA, to release certain information. And it is required by CHIA to require accredited programs to release other information. So that's the practical reason, and for that reason, COPRA requires that in your self-study report and in your annual reports, you provide evidence that you are making that information public. There's also a more philosophical reason. Transparency is a core public service value, and for professional degree programs and public affairs, it makes sense that we be transparent and share information. Unless there's a compelling reason not to share it, we should be transparent. So then the question arises, well, what information needs to be made public and by whom? This table provides an overview of what's presented in Standard 7 in terms of the responsibilities for releasing information to the public and what responsibilities fall on the program and what responsibilities fall on NASPA. Now, obviously, a program is only going to release information about itself. NASPA takes the information from all accredited programs and aggregates it so that it can release information about the field as a whole. Sometimes NASPA also puts that information in a form that is a searchable database that allows stakeholders to drill down and find information on a subset of programs or about an individual program. So let me give you a couple of examples. The first item in that table is basic program information. The program is expected to make available to stakeholders information about what kind of degree it offers. Is it a Master of Public Administration, a Master of Public Policy, a Master of Public Affairs, or something else? How many degrees are required? In what format are courses offered? How many students are there in the program? How many faculty members? Any number of different things about your program. What kind of specializations do you offer? That's what the program must report. NASPA takes that information and is able to say, our field consists of X number of MPA programs that are accredited, and this number of MPP programs. And we have a certain number of programs that offer specializations in environmental policy or economic development. It also provides searchable databases. So if a student is looking for an MPP program in the Pacific Northwest that has an emphasis in sustainable development, it can find those. At another level, we can look at the cost of degree. And NASPA requires that you make public so that people can make informed decisions. How much does it actually cost to earn your degree? This could be tuition, fees, housing, any number of things. What types of funding sources are available to offset those courses? That's about your program. But NASPA can report about the field as a whole. On average, how much does it cost to earn an MPP or an MPA or a Master of Public Affairs? And so you can see that this information is useful at both the program level and at the level of the entire field of public affairs. Now, for programs that have particular conditions that are reflected in their missions, they are asked by NASPA to provide some additional information so that NASPA can release that to targeted audiences. The 3 conditions that are identified in the standards have to do with whether your mission identifies that you are seeking a national or international applicant pool or a national or international scope of influence, or that you're highly selective in your admissions, or that you engage in international public affairs education. If you do any of those, or several of those, you will be asked to provide some additional information that NASPA can compile and share with those targeted audiences. As with all standards, if you have a reason that can be justified in the context of your mission for why you do not release some information that NASPA says you should, you need to justify that in the context of your mission, and in this case, you also need to demonstrate how you are complying with the spirit of transparency and public accountability, even if you're not releasing a particular type of information. The guiding principles of Standard 7 are convey the facts, tell the truth, and be transparent. Remember, this isn't just about accreditation. This is about improving the quality of public service.